Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm your co-host, Dave.
That's David. David is here as our primary co-host again this week because Neil is taking care of business and he should be back on our next episode. And we missed a week just because life got in the way. Neil's busy. I was working crazy amounts of overtime, and David was busy as well. And also, David also was sick.
Yeah, I worked my ass off, and then I got really sick for about a week.
Are you on the rebound now?
I'm on the rebound now. I'm back.
Did you hear Andrew burp in the background rudely while we're recording?
No.
Great, son. You have to edit that out. Anyway, we are doing the remnants of what was remake month, and we're doing 13 Ghosts from 2001, and this movie sucks.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. But before we dive into that, let's kind of get ahead of how the schedule is going to look for the next couple of weeks. We will have this one out probably on the Saturday, the 29th or 28th, and then we'll take another week break, and then we probably won't come back until the second week of July because I have a work conference to go to, so I won't be able to record. So we're going to take which was originally our planned hiatus, because we've been going strong for the first part of the year until all the wheels came off. So we appreciate you listening while things were kind of in flux, but we will be back and stronger than ever, reviewing more and more shitty movies. Hopefully movies not as shitty as this one, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Man, this one sucked. But before we get to the crap, David, did you watch anything good while you were sick?
Well, so I watched, is it Boy Scout's Guide to Zombies
to the Apocalypse?
Or something? Yeah. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, Boy Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse.
Yeah, it was all right. Fun. I mean, better than this piece of shit, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of predictable laughs, predictable characters, but it was fun. It made you laugh. And then I started Outer Range on, I think it's on Amazon Prime, the Josh Brolin movie or TV show. You familiar with it?
No,
Yeah, it's got a really good cast. Another ranching movie, but this one's got a sci-fi twist to it. And the way it was sold to me to watch it was, it's as if Yellowstone were to be written by David Lynch.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's through 5 episodes. It's interesting. Yeah, it's good. I'll finish the season.
I just don't watch TV shows. Everybody's like, oh man, have you watched this TV show? Have you watched this TV show? I just can't commit. I think I have really bad attention span problems when it comes to TV. And if I can watch an episode of a show like The Boys or Invincible and go, man, that was pretty good. And then I just won't want to watch the second episode. I just don't know why. I just can't commit.
I haven't watched one in a while, so I started it, and so far so good. Yeah, I can't remember the last show I watched was the Fallout show.
I hear that's good. Neil was saying it was good as well.
Yeah, it's good. Eric, what did you watch?
Well, it's been kind of a long break, so I've watched quite a lot of stuff. Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd seems to be on Showtime all the time. And I get home from work and I'm like, I want to take a nap or something like that. So I'll look on the TV, and then Trading Places is always starting. So I fall asleep for the first 30 minutes and then I wind up watching the rest of the movie. And I've seen it like 3 times now in like 2 weeks. I don't know why that movie. It's a fun movie. It's pretty good. I watched Scream a couple of days ago, the original one, which I haven't seen since we reviewed it. It's still pretty awesome.
Yep.
It holds up pretty well. There's this documentary on, I have YouTube TV, so they have this special like CNN documentary channel, and CNN did this documentary called The Movies, and they talk about movie eras of movies. So they have like a two-parter on the 60s, two-parter on the 70s, two-parter on the 80s. And my favorite is the one of the 70s, man. I love movies from the 70s. I think it's just the greatest decade for movies that really influenced me. And you just think about so many amazing 70s movies, like Halloween and Star Wars and Jaws and Suspiria and The Godfather, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about the amazing movies from the 70s. And I just think it's probably like the best era of movies. I just love them. I think the 70s movies are just the best. I could just yammer on about it. The one weird thing that I have been watching, and Jamie and I have been watching this awful dating show on HBO Max called Naked Attraction. And it is literally, it's like a British dating show where they pick a guy or a gal and they have like 5 people behind these screens and they reveal them naked from the waist down first and then from the top of the chest down, and then you finally see their face, and it is full of just nakedness. It is naked naked, full frontal naked people on this dating show, and it is so funny, but it also makes you just kind of like realize that circumcision, not a big thing in Britain.
Yeah.
Not a big thing in Britain. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of startling the amount of foreskin you see on this dating show. And yeah, human body not that great looking if you just see it without any personality or anything attached. You see it and you're just like, ugh. It's funny and bizarre, and we watched like 3 episodes so far, and it just makes us laugh how crazy it is. And it's just these people from Britain, and they're like, oh, look at this guy's Willie. He's a ginger. He's got ginger balls, They're just kind of going off, look, she's got no minge. I can't believe it. It's, I'm a bartender from Shropshire, and, I'm looking for a nice bird to date, It's just really weird. But it's worth watching even if just one episode you want to watch and go, what the hell am I watching? It's on Max, called Naked Attraction, and it is startling.
Okay,
very startling, and it just makes you reevaluate the human body when you're looking at it in a just kind of a basic way, in a non-titillating way. It's just like, here's the balls, and here's this willy, and here we go,
and so they make their decision just based on like first like what they see from the waist down.
Yeah, well, they start with the waist down, right? And you see all these guys, and they have different size genitalia or whatever. And then the girls the same way. You see them, and they have different, different grooming styles and things like that. And then they go and they show from the neck down, and you see the different, like, some guys are built, some guys are kind of tubby, some of the ladies are very nicely built, some are not. And then finally they eliminate one each round based on just the looks. And then finally at the end, when there's 2 left, the person who is the main contestant, the one who's picking them, has to get naked too and stand naked in front of the other 2, and they get to kind of judge him or her as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Goes right past the personality part.
Yeah, it's really funny and kind of gross and just fun. And just, if this is my problem. I will sit and look through every single streaming service I have, and I will, scroll through literally hundreds of movies and not be able to decide on something.
Then you watch that.
And Jamie and I can't decide something. I'm like, well, I heard about this show. You want to watch it? And she's like, sure, why not? And so I think we're going to watch a show called MILF Manor next. It's like a dating show. I don't know. We're just bored right now. The summer doldrums to trying to figure out what to watch. So
yeah,
MILF Manor was going to be on our radar, I think. Yeah. Just bizarre game show, reality shows. But usually I do not watch any reality shows at all, but when there's nothing else on TV, like right now, sports, there's the NBA finals are over, which were crap. And I don't care about the NHL. I don't care about Major League Baseball. The Olympics will be on. That'll be kind of cool, but it's just all waiting until football season starts. It's
Yeah,
like this
everything's kind of a
lull.
lull right now as
Yeah,
far as
it's just kind of,
the
yeah,
entertainment
exactly.
world, sports world. Everything seems to be at a lull because there isn't a summer blockbuster movie that I keep thinking I want to
Well,
watch.
Long Legs comes out July 12th. I really want to see that one. That looks
That
really
does look good.
scary, kind of
Yep.
cool. Alien Romulus comes out on August, which looks pretty good too. So I would kind of want to see that. And there's another horror movie that comes out in between that looks pretty interesting. So there's a couple things in the theater. I don't know if it'll get me to go to the theater, but yeah, there's at least some things that look interesting. I hear Long Legs is really really scary, and it's supposed to be pretty good and original. Yeah. So let's talk about 13 Ghosts from 2001. And I'll read the Internet Movie Database tagline. When Cyrus Criticos, this is just a terrible name. When Cyrus Criticos, a very rich collector of unique things, dies, he leaves his house, fortune, and his prized collection of ghosts. Cyrus Criticos. So some writer is probably like, brilliant, Cyrus
Yeah.
Criticos. Directed by Steve Beck, who directed this movie, and Ghost Ship. And Ghost Ship wasn't bad. I actually kind of like that one, especially the beginning of that movie. He at least has one decent movie under his belt. Well, he actually only has two movies: this movie and Ghost Ship. 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship in 2002. Did visual effects for several other movies, but then kind of faded away. This movie was produced by a company called Dark Castle Entertainment, and it was basically formed by Joel Silver and Robert Zemeckis to remake William Castle movies. And William Castle is a very interesting guy. Well, let's talk about the Dark Castle produced movies. They did House on a Haunted Hill, which is equally bad. Someday we'll have to do that one. That one has like
That,
Taye
well,
Diggs and Ali
yeah.
Larter.
And so that's where we were having this conversation the other day. That's where I was confused because around this time when this movie came out was what 2001 we said.
Yeah.
Was you had kind of Ghost Ship was recent, House on Haunted Hill was recent. I think there was the Catherine Zeta-Jones. She came out with I think The Haunting.
Yeah, The Haunting. Yep.
Yeah, so all these kind
That
of
was a
came
remake
out.
too.
Yeah, they all kind of came out about the same time, and they were all shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dark Castle did House on a Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship, a movie called Gothica with
Halle Berry. Yeah.
Halle Berry, which I have not seen. House of Wax, which we have done, which is
isn't
actually
horrible.
not bad.
No, it's not horrible.
It's got its moments. You get to see Paris Hilton die in a creative way. We have done an episode on that one. A movie called The Reaping, which I have never seen. Returned to the House on Haunted Hill in 2007. And then they did Rock and Rolla, directed by Guy Ritchie. The first Orphan movie, which is actually not bad. That was a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
With the twist, that's a good one. They did a sequel to that one, The Orphan First Kill or something. They did the Ninja Assassin movie, The Losers, Splice, which is a freaky sci-fi movie. Have you seen that one? It's actually pretty good. So they've done most recently they did the movie Orphan First Kill, The Old Guy, directed by Simon West, and a movie called Last Breath that's coming out. So yeah, they've done a lot of different type of movies. But before we started recording the podcast, I went back and started watching some of the old William Castle horror trailers from the 1950s, and they're so much fun. I wish this movie was as fun as just the way those movies were. The William Castle movies are crazy. He had a lot of gimmicks in his movies. He did The House on a Haunted Hill, which had a thing called Emergo, is where a skeleton would float out above the audience on a pulley at certain times of the movie and scare people. And then he had another movie called The Tingler, which was its gimmick was called Percepto, where certain movie seats were rigged with like a buzzer that would cause a vibration on the chairs, and that's supposed to be the monster, the Tingler, crawling around the theater. and they did like a thing where the it looks like the film breaks and the tingler crawls across the screen, and then they say scream, scream if you want the tingler to go away, so it encouraged people to scream, and it was just kind of a gimmick. The next gimmick was the gimmick for the original 13 Ghosts, which was called Illusiono. And you would get like 3D glasses. One was blue cellophane and one is red cellophane. And they shot the film with kind of like these people, like the ghosts were colored a certain way that you could only see them if you had the red film on the 3D glasses. So you would see them floating around and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. And then there was this one called Homicidal, where there was a fright break, and they gave the audience 45 seconds to leave before they got too scared at the end of the movie where the climax happened and stuff. So watching all those old trailers, and it kind of makes me want to go back to that time to kind of experience that, where they tried to screw with you in the theater. And that seemed like it was pretty fun. And that kind of puts me in a Halloween type mood when I watch that kind of stuff. The one thing that William Castle did that was his shot at the big time is that he produced Rosemary's Baby, the movie that Roman Polanski directed, and had Mia Farrow and everything. That was his real kind of like shot at legitimacy that he did a good job of buying the rights for and producing. And that movie's pretty cool. It's a really slow burn.
It is,
and I have to be in the right mindset to watch it. But if you are in that mindset, it's pretty good. But
yeah. Going back to like Joel Silver and think about this, Robert Zemeckis. I didn't realize they had done all that other stuff, but probably the only reason you saw those movies, or in the 2001 to go see this, was because Robert Zemeckis' name was attached to it.
Yeah, these movies had decent budgets. Like the budget for 13 Ghosts is $42 million back in 2001. So it wasn't a low budget movie. It had a lot of talent behind it. And I will say the movie looks good. I mean, the set design is pretty cool, and some of the makeup effects are really cool. It's just the writing sucks so bad.
Yeah.
And the major problem I had was the cutting, the editing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just super, lots of super flashing lights. Super, like, what was your issue with the sound effects? We were talking about it before we started.
Well, just what is it? Every time you saw a ghost behind the glass, you had to hear the sound of scratching glass. Like, and it was really this quick cut and a loud noise of like, it was kind of this repetitive sound that was supposed to, I don't know, make you jump, but it was so annoying. I kept turning the movie down.
Yeah, and just the whole premise is dumb in the fact that they created these elaborate backstories for the ghosts, but they didn't do anything to explain anything about them. And apparently there is a DVD extra where they had like a biography for each of the specific ghosts. And if they would have included a little bit of that, maybe, because this movie is not very, very long, but if they would have kind of included a little bit of backstory about each of the ghosts, you would have kind of cared about them more. Like the firstborn son is the little kid who has the cap gun, but we don't know anything about him. There's the torso, which is a guy with no head, just torso. The bound woman is one of them, and then the withered lover, the torn prince, the angry princess is the only one that I remember because she's naked.
Yeah,
during the movie,
they showed her the most, I think.
Yes, the pilgrimess, the great child, the dire monster, the hammer and the jackal, and then the juggernaut. If you read the Wikipedia article on it, there are long, like paragraphs long, biographies for each of these ghosts, but they don't explain it worth shit in the movie. And some of the designs look stupid to me, even though K&B did the effects, which I respect them. They do a lot of good stuff. This one is like a miss for me as far as creature design.
It looked bad. All of them.
Yeah. The only one that was good was the angry princess who was who was naked. Yeah, that's the one that I'm like, okay, That's good. And for some reason, we have been doing a Shannon Elizabeth film festival lately because she's in this movie too. And the cast is Tony Shalhoub as Arthur Criticos, who is the nephew of F. Murray Abraham's character, Cyrus Criticos. And then M. Beth Davis is Kalina Oretizia. Matthew Lillard giving another typical spitty performance in this movie.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard that guy not kind of talk loud or yell and spit in a movie.
Yeah, he's spitting it all over the place in this movie. Shannon Elizabeth is the daughter. Kathy Criticos. Alec Roberts is the annoying kid, Bobby. I just wish would die.
Yeah.
Yeah. J.R. Bourne is Ben Moss. Raw Digga, I guess, who is a rapper, was the nanny who inexplicably stays with the family even though they're poor.
Yeah.
Out of loyalty or something. I don't know. I just didn't get it. I think the movie just it's overwritten yet underwritten. Like the plot is there's too much plot and the characters are underwritten, if that makes sense. You don't really give a shit about them. And there's supposedly all this backstory and all this stuff going on, but it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. The movie is loud and annoying. And it's just got so many quick cuts and slow motion.
Yeah, there's so many just random slow motion shots, and it would just, they turn a corner, slow motion, and then all of a sudden be right back to the sound of scratching glass and another ghost, and they're like sparks every time they hit something. And Eric, I hated this.
Well, another thing that I find just dumb is that the house makes no sense, and you know that they probably thought about it. Oh, this is why this works, and these levers and all this kind of stuff, but nobody explains anything, and everything just happens randomly, and you could give a shit how any of it happens or how any of it works.
Yeah.
Just no world building.
Yeah, it was uninteresting. It's just, I found this, like, the whole thing was uninteresting, and I forgot how shitty this movie was. But back in 2001, when it was coming out, you're like, okay, this is going to be badass. You see Robert Zemeckis' name, and I think he was just coming off of making the horror film with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford.
What Lies Beneath?
Yeah. Which wasn't horrible. So I think he was just coming off of that.
Well, I think Zemeckis is a better director than he is a producer, or the stuff that he produces is widely varies in quality.
Yeah, he just doesn't care about it. He just knows he's going to make some money.
Yeah, he did. This is what he did in a row. He did Contact in '97, What Lies Beneath in 2000, and then Castaway in 2000. So he's responsible for a lot of good movies. Just some of the stuff he's produced, you're like, what?
Yeah. So you fell for it. There I was, smoking weed with my buddies in the garage, all hyped to go watch this movie because, Robert Zemeckis' name was attached to it. And I really liked What Lies Beneath. I thought that was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. And so I was hoping to see something like this. And even super high, I hated this movie.
So as a producer only, he did Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, which is actually pretty fun. That's a pretty good one. Billy Zane. House on Haunted Hill, crap. 13 Ghosts, crap. Ghost Ship, not that bad. Gothica, haven't seen it. House of Wax, we talked about already. Did a movie called The Prize Winner of Defiance, Ohio. The Reaping with Hilary Swank. It's a supernatural movie. Mars Needs Moms. Then he did executive producer The Public Eye, The Frighteners, which is pretty good. Matchstick Men, Last Holiday.
Matchstick Men's all right.
Monster House is pretty good. Behind the Burly Q, I guess it's a film documentary examining the golden age of burlesque in the first half of the 20th century. Might be worth seeing. Real Steel, which is Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie. Yeah, and a movie called Finch with Tom Hanks, which I have not seen. I think that's one of those movies that came out during the pandemic on like Apple TV or something like that just came and went.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the critical consensus for 13 Ghosts.
Okay, you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. You do the first paragraph. I'll do the second one.
Okay, reviews for the film were mostly negative. And we could leave it at that. I think that'll save us a lot of reading. But no, here we go. Praise was directed toward the production design, but the film was criticized for its lack of scares and a number of strobe effects throughout that could induce seizures. It holds an approval rating of 19% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 96 reviews, an average rating of 3.7 out of 10. The website's critical consensus reads, the production design is first rate, but 13 Ghosts is distinctly lacking any scares. Yeah, this movie was not scary. On a Metacritic, film was weighted average 30 out of 100 based on reviews from 24 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of C+ on an A to F scale.
Ed Gonzalez of Slant Magazine rated the film 2 out of 4 stars, panning the film's lack of scares and predictable plot twists. However, Gonzalez commented on the art direction while also stating it was underutilized. Roger Ebert praised the production value, saying, the production is first rate. The physical look of the picture is splendid. However, he criticized the story's lack of interesting characters, loud soundtrack, and poor editing, and included it on his list of most hated films in 2005. In the year since its release and disappointing box office performance, the film has gathered a prominent cult following, finding further successes and more positive reception. Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times said of the film, what we are left after the scares is just plain dumb. But I didn't think there was any scares, so it was just plain dumb.
Yeah, there's nothing scary about this movie.
Well, I think the critics were right. Sometimes you go, the critics are wrong on this one. This one's actually pretty good. Nope, the critics are right. 19% on Rotten Tomatoes sounds about right. 3.7 out of 10 sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
And CinemaScore, the audiences are usually pretty forgiving. And they gave it a C+, so you know it must be pretty bad.
Yeah.
And like I said, if an audience gives a movie an F on CinemaScore, I want to see it because it's usually really, really misunderstood or epically awful. So yeah, that's what CinemaScore is. They usually give a lot of B's and A's, but yeah, C+. Just plain dumb from Elvis Mitchell. They should put that on the poster.
Just plain dumb.
Plain dumb, yeah. So the whole thing with the auto scrapyard, like I said, the production is cool, and you're wondering what's going on. There's scientists running around in their special little clear reflective suits, and then you see the mysterious old Rolls Royce with with Kritikos in it, and Matthew Lillard chewing up the scenery as his psychic supposedly can sense when ghosts are around. He is not a subtle actor, that Matthew Lillard. He's always going for yelling, eyes bulging, spit a flying, and they in an homage to the original movie, you have to put on these special glasses that shows you the ghost. So the ghosts basically are invisible, can kill you and throw you around without anybody else seeing it unless you have the glasses on and you can actually see what the ghost looks like. There are a couple of cool kills at the beginning with the guy getting pulled in from behind and he gets folded in half in a cool way.
Into the trunk, right? Like he's getting
pulled into the trunk. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lackeys dying left and right, and then you see the ghost captured, and the ghost is the Juggernaut who's killing people left and right. And it looks like Cyrus is dead. F. Murray Abraham's character is dead, but yeah, and you see K and B effects, which the gore in here is pretty good. And I guess you can't really blame them for the design of the characters. They're just making the effects happen. But yeah. Everything's really late 90s, early 2000s, and that kind of editing and the quippiness of the characters. Everybody's got to say a pun. Everybody's got has a snide, smarmy comment.
When you just said that, so that, to go back to the editing, it makes me think of like at that time what was kind of going on. You think like specifically like music videos kind of made a comeback
Uh-huh.
at that time, and they were all these quick edits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was tons.
And so it makes me think it was around that era in life that there was a lot of quick video stuff going on, and just made me think of kind of like a music video.
It does. It has very flashy video editing. So I'm looking up horror movies of 2001, and the original Jeepers Creepers came out in 2001, which is not terrible if you ignore the skeevy story of the director. Lots of J horror was coming out. The Others with Nicole Kidman, which is actually not a bad one.
Yeah, that was good.
Jason X, which is you got to watch that one.
Yeah.
From Hell, which is the Jack the Ripper movie with Johnny Depp. That's not terrible.
I actually watched that a couple months ago. Not bad.
There's a movie called Valentine, which is awful. Jamie and I saw that in the theater. It was freaking terrible.
I watched that movie. I watched that one this winter. I didn't want to admit it on the podcast.
Poor John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars came out that year. Frailty, which was directed by Bill Paxton, that's a good movie. It's
so underrated. That is such an underrated movie.
Hannibal came out that year. The Mummy Returns. Bones with Snoop Dogg. Joyride, which I have not seen. Suicide Club from Japan, which sounds interesting. Donnie Darko came out in 2001. That's a good one. Mulholland Drive, which is one of David Lynch's most unusual and interesting movies. I like that one quite a bit. Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter came out in 2001. Devil's Backbone from Guillermo del Toro came out. That's a good one. Soul Survivors. I remember seeing the trailers for that one. Never watched it. Godzilla GMK, Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack came out, which we've done an episode on. Raptor Evolution with David Duchovny. That one's pretty good. And a movie called Venomous. And Vanilla Sky. I don't know if you would consider Vanilla Sky a horror movie, but yeah. Interesting year for horror movies. Session 9. It's not bad. But 13 Ghosts. Yeah, it's just not good.
No.
And with all that money, you could have made a much better movie. And I think it's just the dialogue is really bad. Like after you get the intro, you see this kind of like, you see Tony Shalhoub's character, and he's in his living room, and it looks like everything is happy. And they do all this exposition of this house fire happening and his wife dying. And it's just a pan across the living room where he's like in a nice house, and now all of a sudden he's in a shitty apartment, and you see the picture of his wife who died and stuff. And it's like a radio show or something. It's not very good, but that's kind of how they explain his wife away, how he's in a shitty apartment. And why was there an annoying kid in this movie? I hate movies with precocious, annoying kids.
Yeah.
And this one had one where the kid is just a young son. He's probably like, I don't know, 12 maybe.
Gosh, I can't even. I kept thinking he was younger than that, and then I kept thinking I don't have any kids, and I hope that I never do. But
but this movie made you like want to get a vasectomy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. But I thought if you're going in to look at a house for the first time, why would you let your goddamn kid bring a scooter in?
Yeah.
I thought that was so annoying that he had to have that thing, you know?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like The Omen. Hey, what's happening right now with the kids? Scooters. So we got to get a kid on a scooter in this movie.
Yeah. Ugh.
Just awful 2000s quippy dialogue. I put that in the notes. Good production design. So these people inherit the house, and they meet the lawyer at the house for some reason, and he introduces Tony Shalhoub and Shannon Elizabeth, who doesn't really have a big role in the movie other than screaming and acting dumb.
Yeah.
And then disappearing for the last third of the movie for absolutely no reason.
And she doesn't have a ton of dialogue.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I do kind of like let's gather random people into a haunted house movies. That's kind of a cool genre.
Yeah,
I do kind of,
but yeah, but when they're made well,
yes. I think they wanted the house to look really original and cool and stuff, but I think it kind of took away from the traditional old dark house cobwebs type thing where, there's ghosts that are floating around holding candles and shit, that kind of 60s style haunted house that is fun, and then they just try to make it modern, and it's just ugh. Matthew Lillard is pretending to be a electrician or somebody from utilities or something, trying to go fix the power. He turns out that he's just there to get the money that he's owed, and he's just spitting. I can't express how much he spits in this movie.
yeah. Ah.
I did mention the naked lady ghost. She's the highlight of the movie. The coolest kill is when the lawyer
Yeah.
gets cut in half, like bisected by the panes of glass. It's like one of those bodies exhibits where they kind of like do sectional pieces of a human anatomy. It looks like that. That was kind of cool. And so you see these two people. One was Beth Davis, and she plays like a ghost rights activist or something who's trying to tell Kritikos that he shouldn't capture these ghosts. So when Kathy, played by Shannon Elizabeth, gets attacked by one of the ghosts, she shows up out of nowhere with her flares that apparently scared the ghosts away. And you're like, oh shit, she's still in this movie? You completely forget about her.
Yeah. And of course, I think she came around the corner in slow motion with the.
Yes, she did.
Yes.
In slow motion.
Yes.
Yeah, you find just there's so many scenes of people walking around and doors moving and ghosts getting loose and maybe getting close to them but not really attacking them, and then they split up over and over again and wander around, and then they get attacked but they don't get killed. And I think that's a problem. I think they should have introduced more people into the house so they could randomly get killed. The body count wasn't big enough, because you need a couple of randos besides the lawyer to get killed by the ghost.
It's just the lawyer Matthew Lillard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, only 2 people died.
So do the
right.
Yeah, well, the Matthew Lillard's character dies. The lawyer dies. And Beth Davis's character, Kalina, she gets smashed between panes of glass. She gets killed. A bunch of people die at the beginning from the Juggernaut. There's a couple of people get smashed and killed. Yeah. But yeah, it's just ugh. So there's a huge exposition dump where they all separate, and she has a chance to say he's collecting these ghosts and he needs a 13th ghost, and one has to sacrifice themselves in an altruistic act of love in order to stop this kind of convergence of ghosts. And the only reason they have him is because he's supposed to be able to see into the future, which is totally stupid. And it turns out that Cyrus is still alive and that Kalina is working for him. And there's something about the Black Zodiac, which sounds like a cool rapper name. Oh, Black Zodiac.
Yeah.
Or like a DC superhero from the 70s. Here comes Black Zodiac. And when the nanny, played by Raw Digga, named Maggie, she is messing with the controls to the spinning floor, and they made it sound like she's spinning a record.
Of course,
like it's vaguely racist. You're like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I thought of the same thing. And she was the last one to get a pair of glasses. The only black character in the whole movie, and she was the last one to get a pair of the glasses to see the ghosts. Like everybody else had some on. Did you notice that at all, or am I?
Yes, I did. And I am all for, diverse casting if it makes sense, and the plot makes, they add to the plot and everything like that. But I think in a lot of these 90s 2000 movies, they were just going to add a black actor or a rapper acting in movies, just like Busta Rhymes in in a, in the Halloween movie,
Yeah.
Halloween Resurrection. It's just like, why is he here? Or LL Cool J in Deep Blue Sea.
Yep.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's just I think there's a movie in the movie Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. And one of the Wayans brothers, like he's what are you mad about? Is like, all the rappers are taking the good acting parts.
That's an underrated movie.
I love that movie. It's so funny. It's so dumb. It turns out that Cyrus is not dead, and he's using his nephew, wants him to sacrifice himself so he can actually fulfill the machinations of the machine, so he can see into the future. But what happens, of course, is that he turns it on them. Sets the ghosts. It doesn't fulfill it, so they all kill Cyrus and they tear him apart. And that's it. The movie's over. The ghosts just kind of walk away without any sort of purpose. And then Maggie quits, and then it's over. It's just dumb.
Cue in the shitty rap song for the credits, and it was just nothing made sense. It's the house, the machine blows up, right? She's pushing all the buttons, causes the machine to spin faster. It blows up. But when it shows the ghosts, and everybody's fine, the lights are still on, but when everybody's walking away from the house looks like it was blown up.
Yes.
Yeah. So how the hell is anybody still alive?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Everybody when killed by exploding shards of glass or smashed or all sorts of things could happen. Yeah, just so it is not good. I can't believe it really has a cult following. And there are some retrospectives on YouTube where people really like it and enjoy all the different ghosts, and they really get into it. But to me, it was bad. It was, I would say it's actually worse than the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, and it has to be one of the worst horror movie remakes I've seen.
This is one of the worst ones we've covered. Yeah, this is a bad movie.
So let's talk about horror movie remakes from the 2000s. There's so many of them, and we have seen House of Wax and done a episode on it. We did an episode of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, and we did an episode on Dawn of the Dead and the Friday the 13th remake. We still need to do The Ring, and I think the remake, it's not really a remake, it's just an American version of a Japanese movie, so I don't really think it's like a remake of an older movie. It's just an Americanized version of something. So you got 13 Ghosts, the Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds. Have you ever seen that one?
I have.
What'd you think?
It had potential. It's not horrible. If it's on TV, I'll watch it or something, but it's not horrible.
The Hills Have Eyes remake is pretty grisly. It's not a bad one. It's got its merits. Black Christmas remake I have not seen. I kind of want to put it on the list, but I don't want Neil to forever leave the podcast.
Yeah. We should welcome Neil back to the podcast with that movie. So you guys have welcomed me back many times.
3D
shitty movies.
There's a Prom Night remake, which I have not seen. Sorority Row, I want to see. I actually hear it's not terrible compared to the original House on Sorority Row. The Fog, I have not seen. Nightmare on Elm Street, we've done. The Grudge is another J-horror remake. The Last House on the Left remake I have seen. It's not terrible. I just I don't like those rape and revenge type movies. So, that one and the I Spit on Your Grave remake I've seen them both. I don't know why. Maybe because I was homesick each time and just didn't have anything else to watch, and watched a bunch of them. So April Fool's Day came out. They had a remake of that one. Black Christmas had two remakes, one in 2006, one in 2019. The Blob remake, which we did, is probably one of the best remakes of all remakes. It's so fucking good. It's totally
Really?
underrated. It just, I mean, it is such a good movie, and everybody's they kill kids, they kill old people, it just is indiscriminate in its terror. It's a really fun movie, The Blob from 1988. That one deserves its remake cred there. Cabin Fever, we had a remake in 2016, which is odd. I don't know why that needs a remake. I have not seen the Carrie remake with Chloe Moretz. Have you seen that one?
Huh?
Where Julianne Moore is the mom.
No.
The Cat People from 1982 was a horror remake from the 50s, and that was pretty good with Malcolm McDowell and Nastasia Kinski. Did not see the Child's Play remake where he's AI instead of supernatural.
It's not bad. It's got some really good kills.
There's one called The Crazies, which is a remake of a 1973 George Romero movie. I've heard is pretty good.
It is.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. That's a good movie, actually.
We've done Dawn of the Dead, and then there's Evil Dead remake, which we need to do. I think we need to do some of the Evil Dead movies. That's one of the franchises so far that we have not touched yet, which surprises me that we haven't done that. So we'll have to get on that one. The Fly, 1986, is one of the best remakes of all time. You got Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. That's just an amazing David Cronenberg movie. Really, really good. Halloween 2007, the Rob Zombie one, which is coming up in the chronology of the Halloween movies that we're doing. I don't know if we'll do it or not because it's so bad.
I won't be attending that episode.
It'll just be me. Hey guys, remember this movie?
Yeah, you talk for 10 minutes and then that's it. It'll just be a quick drop.
All right, nobody to bounce anything off of. I'm done. The Hills Have Eyes is actually a pretty good remake. I Spit on Your Grave I've seen. It's well made, but it's not a fun movie. They did a remake of Jacob's Ladder, which is crazy to me, in 2019. That's one of those movies that's it's a perfect movie. You can't remake that one. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know why they remade that one. Maniac 2012 with Elijah Wood. I have not seen. I heard it's actually pretty good, but it has Neil's least favorite plot device, or when it's through the eyes of the killer, like first person killer view. He hates that. Mother's Day, Night of the Demons, which we just did. Night of the Living Dead from 1990. We'll have to do that one. That's actually not bad. I like that one. Mary on Elm Street remake we've done. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's better than 13 Ghosts. There's a Nosferatu remake done by David Eggers. The trailer came out today. It actually looks pretty good.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one, if that's going to be good or not. Piranha 3D, which we just did this month. The Poltergeist remake I have stayed away from just because the other one is so great. It would be insulting to watch a remake of it. Rabid, which is a remake of David Cronenberg, which I have not seen it. Satan Schools for Girls. Silent Night, Bloody Night, The Homecoming. Slumber Party Massacre, they redid. The Stepfather. Suspiria remake, I have not seen. I hear it's kind of not good, or good depending on your perspective of the original Suspiria, which to me is a perfect movie. I love that movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, which we did already, it's pretty good. And yeah, there's just so many horror movie remakes. The Wicker Man from 2006 with Nicolas Cage in a bear suit, randomly punching ladies in the face and getting bees put on him. Not the bees! Not the bees! Yeah. Well, we could go on for more minutes and try to drag this out, but really there's not much more to say than this movie was awful.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I've been watching a lot of reviews. I guess just changing direction here. I want to hear your thought, being a Star Wars nerd. You know where I'm probably going with this one, right?
You're talking about the Acolyte show?
Yeah.
I just don't care to watch it. I mean, I've given up on any Star Wars TV show. I started with The Mandalorian and it was entertaining, but I just don't watch TV shows. And my personal opinion is like whatever they make that is new doesn't erase the originals. And the original three will always be my favorites. You know, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. I don't really care too much about the prequels, even though we've done The Phantom Menace. We'll probably do Attack of the Clones and, Revenge of the Sith. Those are at least entertaining. I hated the Force Awakens was good until you saw through the holes that it's just basically a remake of the original movie and didn't know what the fuck they were doing with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi at least looked really good. And there were, I thought Kylo Ren's performance was really good, but then they erased everything in it with The Rise of Skywalker, and I was just out. And this is coming from a lifelong Star Wars nerd. I'm out on Star Wars. I'm just not willing to watch anything. I think the fourth best movie is Rogue One.
That's a
that
good
movie
one.
is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I wish more TV shows were like Rogue One, where it's about what's happening in the Republic and the fight against the Empire and stuff like that. But they're just ruining Jedi stuff with all this lore and all this other kind of stuff. And I just have no interest in it. And it's just not for me anymore. And whatever they decide to do with it, that's cool with them. But I don't have to watch it. And I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard really bad things about it. And I don't watch the shows. I just, while I was sick, started watching reviews and stuff and on YouTube. And man, that one was just getting crushed.
Well, so many people are mad because it's supposedly woke or whatever. But if you go back to all the other Star Wars, especially in the prequels, they're a multiracial cast and there's all sorts of different creatures and other things that are Jedis and stuff like that. So that's not new. So I don't see why they're pissed off about that. But I think bad writing is bad writing, whether it's woke or not or whatever. If it just doesn't make any sense and it's an insult to the other stuff, like the stuff that before it, then it's just bad. I could care less what color a Jedi is or what gender a Jedi is or whatever. If the story is good, the story is good. So I don't believe in that, it's too woke and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. Well, maybe there are more, lesbian witch Sith people in the galaxy out there. I don't know. But it's not for me to say that's woke or not woke. If it's bad, and it's just bad. You don't have to say something is bad because it's supposedly woke. If it just sucks, it sucks.
Yeah.
That's my old man opinion on it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I can't watch it all. I mean, I'm so used to the old stuff, all this new stuff I can't keep up with. And it's just too much of it coming out.
And I think that's what kind of ruined Marvel for me a little bit, is that there's too many TV shows and too many things you have to watch, where it was really, really good when it was just a couple of movies throughout the year, and you didn't have to keep up with all this ancillary stuff. And some of the TV shows, the Marvel TV shows, are pretty good. The Vision Scarlet Witch show was pretty good. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier show was pretty good, but I never watched Loki or She-Hulk or any of the other stuff, which I think they're pretty good. And the Daredevil is a good show, but it's just so much to keep up with, to try to keep up with continuity.
Yeah.
When you only have so much time to watch stuff, and there's so much stuff out there, and it's the paradox of choice. What are you going to put aside to watch? And for me, I wind up watching some old horror movie because it's comforting instead of new is scary. So I'm going to watch something old just to be comforted by it.
Yeah, that's what I find myself doing too.
Let's watch some Italian giallo movies from the 70s. Yeah. I don't really care about, all the people saying what's woke or not. It's not woke. If it's good, it's good, no matter what the characters are or any of that stuff. But if it's shitty, it's shitty. No matter, just whatever your political agenda is, it's got to be good. The writing's got to be good. It's got to make sense. The characters, the acting has to be good. It doesn't matter any of the other stuff, as long as it makes sense.
Yeah. What happened to just making a good movie?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, or a good program without having all these other agendas. It's hard to watch anything anymore. Let's just make a goddamn movie that we enjoy. God damn it. How hard is it?
Well, and I hate to sound like old, but the South Park episode about when they're talking about how Cartman goes to Disney and he plays Kathleen Kennedy, and I was like, put a chicken in and make her gay. Have you seen that one? Put a chicken in and make her gay. It's almost so spot on. It's scary. And I think that's the general premise of that episode is like, you can have diversity, but it's got to be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just we'll see about that. I know Neil watches a lot more of the Star Wars shows than I do. So when he comes back, we'll have to ask him if he's watching The Acolyte or not, and what his opinion is on it. I have some diehard Star Wars friends, and they're up in arms. I think. Anyway, that's our episode for the week. We will be out for this episode, and then we'll be gone for one more week. Let me look at a calendar so I know exactly how everything lines up. This is riveting podcasting.
Yeah.
So this episode should come out on the 29th, and then we will have a break. So there won't be an episode on July 6th, but we'll be back hopefully with new episodes on July 13th. Probably it'll be Rocky 4, then maybe Red Dawn. I have some like patriotic themed movies planned for July.
Okay, perfect.
So we'll go for that. But thanks everybody for listening. Neil should be back, and hopefully all our lives will be a little more settled in the next couple of weeks. But thank you so much for listening. Look us up on rvspodcast222@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. We are on Instagram and on Facebook and on Threads. If you want to contribute to the cause, go to buymeacoffee.com and look for the Retro Video Store. And we thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store podcast.